Hey family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love, where we demystify relationships, men, and life. Well, family, got a whole lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 4. Well, I tell you, I was looking at it and I was looking at how the beginning of the program, we're looking at those first three couples and how they were getting along and how they were treating one another. I have to say that what it looked like to me with the first three couples, we'll go over a little bit of what they did, and it seemed to me like they were still in fantasy land, and I kind of go over that as well. But for example, you have Brandon. Brandon was doing pretty good. I mean, I like what he did. Brandon, he ended up giving Taylor a nice little necklace with his his name. The name. I think it said Mrs. Reed on the necklace, and I thought that was a pretty good move on his part. I really liked his generosity toward his wife, and I think she really appreciated that. But it's still in that category of fantasy land right now because they haven't really started getting down to the nitty gritty yet. They haven't really seen what's coming yet. They still kind of living up in the clouds, as it were. And the second couple, Derek and Katie. Now, Derek and Katie, their situation is really where they were like just kind of sexually charged with one another. They really were feeling one another, and especially Katie. She was really feeling him, and I like to tell anyone that's interested in pursuing lifetime partnership, the last thing you want to do is to try to is to get involved with someone that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest attraction you have for that individual, and you're really sexually charged, and that guy or that girl really does it for you. The reason you don't want to go down that road with that person is because that person never gets a chance to really meet you. Is because you're putting yourself in such a pickle, and you're doing everything you need to do. You're contorting yourself to do whatever you think you need to do to get this individual because you are so sexually charged with this person that you would do anything to get that person. And I mean absolutely anything. So, as a result, you really never show the person who you are. And so when I see that, and that's all I've been seeing from Katie and from Derek, I don't see a whole lot of time between these two where they're getting that intimate time to talk about their future and find out what their core values are and where they want to go in this relationship. All I'm hearing is about all this sexual innuendo and all of this sensuality, and there's a time and a place for that once you checked off a few other boxes. All right. Now I'm looking at Austin and Jessica. Now, Austin and Jessica, I say they're more funny than they are in the what I would call the fantasy land, but they're both are very awkward people, and I kind of like that. They're real funny, and it's like he has no idea what he's doing. She doesn't know how she should be feeling in this thing. But I looked at it when they're together, they have no idea what to do with one another. And it's just so funny. And at the same time, I'll just go ahead and say it, it's kind of cute, looking at that. It kind of takes me back, way back when I was just a young pup. and I didn't kind of, know which way was up myself. So, but, I kind of saw I noticed when Austin got a chance to talk to Jessica's twin sister and how he kind of calmed her down and alleviated some of her fears, excuse me. But it was a little bit more difficult. It was a little more difficult for Jessica to alleviate some of the insecurities of her mother-in-law because she's so protective of Mr. Austin. But I'm glad that overall they were able to get past their differences, and it looks like that mom is pretty happy about the selection that the experts made for her little baby boy. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to the dark side. Let's go to the dark side. Let's look at Mika and Mike and Zach and Mindy. Mika and Mike and Zach and Mindy. Man. I didn't think it was going to happen so quickly. I'm sorry, family. I thought it was going to, I thought they were at least going to get that one night together and enjoy that little bliss and have that fun at the wedding and enjoy that and build up to the wedding and enjoy that. And then in the coup de grace, I thought it would be they go on the honeymoon and get those 7 days and they would enjoy that. Maybe consummate, who knows? My goodness. Mika and Michael, I don't even know if they got off the plane before Mike did what he did. And I'm about to go into that. And I'm not really that sure what's going on with Zach, but Zach got some things going on, and we're going to get there. Matter of fact, we're going to go with him first. Now, if you guys remember, Zach had a chance to talk to the friend of Mindy and Mindy's sister. And what was interesting, Mindy's friend asked Zach, since he was a model, did he get involved with Married at First Sight so that it would further his modeling career? And of course, he flatly denied that wasn't the motivating factor. Now, that's neither here nor there because I can't read the brother's mind. I have no idea. I have no idea what motivated this guy. But all I can tell you is what I saw. That's all I can tell you. Now, he was all in front of the camera. He was 100% in. I mean, he was getting his act out. I mean, he was really acting. But I noticed that once he got beyond the hotel room and got to Panama for their 7 days, I think it's 7-day honeymoon. It's either 5 or 7 days. I'm not sure. But once he arrived there, his whole demeanor started to change. It doesn't seem to me now, I could be wrong, correct me in the comments. I'm more than willing to be enlightened. I'm that guy. But it appears to me that he seemed to be a little emotionally detached, emotionally unavailable. That's what it seems to me. That's the way he was treating her. So much so, she could feel, I'm talking about Mindy now, she could feel his emotional detachment, his emotional unavailability toward her. And she couldn't really put her finger on it. I can't either. But I know when you start to experience something like that, ladies or gentlemen, you start experiencing emotional unavailability, emotional detachment, then you know that you are experiencing, let me tell you, you're going to experience almost a nightmare. It's not even worth getting into the relationship because it's most of the time when you see that pattern in your mate, if you will, or someone you're dating, you might as well go ahead on and that's a wrap. You need to get on out of that thing as fast as you can, because that thing is not going to turn out. I'm just going to put it out there, because people who are practicing or reacting or triggered by any kind of stress that makes them, I guess you might say, kind of pull away emotionally or separate themselves emotionally, detach, make themselves unavailable, that's not going to work for any kind of relationship. You need to get away as quickly as you can. Now let me deal with Mika and Michael. Now here's the issue I had with Michael on this thing. Mika had an opportunity to speak to his mother, and his mother told Mika that he doesn't do well emotionally when he has to deal with stress or when he has to deal with emotional confrontation. He doesn't do well. And so she told Mika that sometimes he separates himself, or he goes inside himself, and he tries everything he can to avoid the emotional involvement that's required in order to deal with that issue. He doesn't know how to deal with it. That is his pattern. And so I like what Mika did. And Mika, before they even went on the honeymoon, Mika went directly to him and told him about the conversation she had with his mother. And she asked him, she said, if this is your pattern, she said, do me a favor. She said, if we run into a situation where there's going to be a time where we have to talk about something that is unpleasant and uncomfortable for you emotionally, please don't run away. Please don't go back into your mind. Don't get all up in your head and all up in your feelings. Please, 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 let's deal with this thing so we can put it behind us and move forward. Can you agree with me on that? That brother said yes in so many words. He said yes. But here's what he did. In front of the camera, he's been acting like the best guy or the best thing since sliced bread. But according to Mika, when the camera wasn't running and they were on their way to Panama, he told her that if they do not consummate, or if she doesn't allow him to consummate the relationship within the 5 to 7 days, then he told her in so many words that he didn't see any reason to move forward in this relationship. Now, talking about emotional immaturity, emotional lack of emotional intelligence, and a lack of emotional integrity. Talk about all three of those things. Here's a guy that sounded like he had crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, like he knew everything. He knew what was going in zones, and he had everything happening for him for this relationship. But what happened? He makes a startling statement like that to his new bride, and she called him out on it, to her credit. She said, so you telling me if I do not have sex with you within this 7 days, 5 to 7 days, that you are going to terminate this relationship? Is this the way you're going to play this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, he is a classic male or feminized male. Classic. Now, first he denies it, or he doesn't really say a whole lot. He act like he kind of minimizes what she was saying. She wanted to talk it out. Now, they just had that conversation. She wanted to talk it out. What does he do? He tries to minimize it. Then after trying to minimize it, he tries to go, well, you know, yeah, he's and all. Then he finally concedes and says, okay, yes. But here's the thing that really shows this behavior that his mother said that he would demonstrate. As soon as he agreed, what does he do? Not only does he abandon her emotionally, he physically abandons her. He leaves the room and he finds other quarters in the hotel and sleeps in another room entirely. What do you think she's thinking? That's a brand new marriage. And this is what he does on his honeymoon night? Who does that? Someone who wants his way or the highway. Someone who is emotionally immature, emotionally unavailable, emotionally not intellectual. He doesn't understand how the way he's dealing with this issue, how it's affecting her emotions. No integrity whatsoever. He sat there and told her he would talk this thing out and so that they could get over it. And instead, he did exactly the opposite. No emotional integrity whatsoever. So I'm telling you, if this brother doesn't get himself together emotionally and stop acting like one of these brothers who has been raised by females, and he's all in his feelings, and he doesn't care about her feelings, he doesn't care about abandoning her, he doesn't care about knowing anything about her, he doesn't care about his own integrity, I'm going to tell you right now, that brother is going to be totally out of alignment, and that relationship is not going to be worth. I'll put it this way: the marriage contract is not going to be worth the ink it was written. It's not going to be worth the. I guess I was correct first. The ink that was that pen was written in, that contract was written on. It ain't going to be worth nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's my takeaway on what I saw. I'm looking at two couples that look like they're going south already, and both of them have to do with emotional immaturity, a lack of emotional integrity, and a lack of emotional intelligence. I can tell those two men, they are totally self-centered as right now. I'm going to give them some time to see, I'm going to assume that, everything is new. They're operating on their old way. They haven't transitioned. They haven't made the shift from being a single person to making that shift to being a partnered person. See, because once they make that shift from being a single person to being a partnered person, they have to learn how to engage and express and embrace. They have to be able to embrace the differences. They have to be able to express their feelings. And they have to be able to engage one another. Because if they don't, they're going to run into what we've already saw. We're going to see the four horsemen. You're going to see criticism, contempt, comparing, and complaining. When you see that, that's a 95% chance that relationship is a wrap. It's done. I hope, I'm really hoping. Let's pray for these people, family. Let's pray for these people, because based upon the statistics, 4 of these couples are not going to make it and only one is. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. But I pray these two couples that I just talked about who are experiencing all this emotional damage already, especially being expressed by the men. If that emotional immaturity and lack of emotional intelligence and a lack of emotional integrity is not dealt with, those two marriages are going south and going to end up in the ditch. I pray I'm wrong. That's my time. I thank you for yours. Catch you on the other side. God bless you.